to the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. All things hockey, all the time. And now, here are your hosts, two washed-up beer leaguers who have no idea what they're talking about, Zach Martin and Alex Nuttall.
What's going on, everybody? It is another episode of the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast. I'm Alex. That's Zach. Zach, how you doing, man?
Doing good, man. You know, it's Friday, which means one thing. We're talking hockey, so good to go. I'm really, hey, the Blackhawks are in the playoffs, but you know what? I still get to watch a lot of good first-round matchups and get to see what's going to happen in this crazy division-type deal and who gets to be in the top four later on and who gets to go to the Stanley Cup. So, but I'm ready to go, man. How are you doing tonight?
I'm great. The Blue Jackets won the cup. Torch is no longer our coach. Hallelujah. Thank the Lord. All right. So, what we're going to do today.
Did you spike your drink or something?
No, don't worry about it. So what we're doing today is we're going to start off a 4-part series. What we're going to do is we're going to have a guest on to preview every series of matchups for each division for the playoffs. Some of them will start after a game has happened or anything like that. But you know what? Whatever. It's fine. We really don't care. We're just having fun. To start, we have the East, and returning from the best episode ever, Andrew from Short Shift. Andrew, what's going on, buddy?
I'm doing well, and damn, guys, best episode ever. Hell yeah. Love it.
It was a pretty spicy episode.
We had some words. We absolutely had some words.
Too bad we didn't have Andrew on with the whole Tom Wilson incident. I would love to get Andrew's thoughts on that. But I mean,
if you want, I'll touch on that because
we do have Bruins caps first round.
Yeah,
so,
here, you know what? So we'll you know what? Screw it. We're gonna start. We're gonna hit the Capitals and Boston second. But you know what, Andrew? Soapbox, 60 seconds. Anything you want to say about Tom Wilson, and go.
I hope Kevin Miller fucking turns his face into ground beef. I hope that the Department of Player Safety fucking implodes. And I hope that, I don't know, I don't want to wish actual ill will on anybody, but Tom Wilson is just, he broke the Rangers, which was entertaining just to watch James Dolan be like, but like the NHL really exposed themselves as bigger jokes. Like Tom Wilson's still a fuck. He'll always be a fuck. He was born a fuck. He will die a fuck, and only fucks will mourn him. But
all right, let's say that's about 6 beeps. I mean, well, actually, good thing we don't even edit this out, so you're gonna have a nice little plethora of just Fs. Basically, are you gonna
actually edit this? Are you gonna?
No.
Oh, you should.
No. We're going with a full Eric Cartman here. We're going.
With
for,
that
we're
being
going, we're
said,
going
if you are in the middle of teaching your sweet little 7-year-old, make sure you have headphones in. Okay, great, awesome.
Yeah, well, that's why we're gonna have a nice little explicit next to the name of the title of the episode. So if you do watch it,
to be fair, if you're just now starting to listen, it's your problem, not mine.
Yeah,
but I mean,
Anyways, it's Andrew. I heard Andrew's episode before. It was colorful. It was fun. Yeah, you should have known it was coming.
Yeah, although I love the fact now too, like they're doing these $5,000 like. What is it? Dangerous trips? I'm like, when did that become a thing?
Joel Edmondson getting fined $2,000 for a dangerous trip. That was the single biggest joke of the whole thing because
there was one recently that was, I think it was like today. I saw one was for $5,000 for a dangerous trip, and you're like,
it's proving that the NHL player safety is feckless. It's feckless, and they overcorrect
At this point, it's like, why even try anymore? It's like, you expose yourself. It's like, congratulations.
George Karros needs to go. He's probably.
Oh, you know what? There you go. $250,000 fine to Alex in Short Shift. You hurt the man's feelings and question his job. You hate to see it.
Yeah, hate to see it.
There's $250K out of your bank account.
Oh my god! And I couldn't believe the statement that the NHL released with that fine to the Rangers, where it was
Gary Bettman was just like, "How dare
this
you?"
was a personal attack. Well, first of all, the Rangers didn't personally attack Parros. He attacked him professionally. Get
Tom
it right.
Wilson yeeting Panarin into the ice by his hair was a personal attack.
Yes,
Yeah, a little bit.
thank
A little
you.
bit.
Oh my god! Just
Or how about the fact that you had Buchnevich like pinned with a stick up to his neck and then just hits him with the nice little jab to the head? You're like,
and this was
No,
after.
he's not a repeat offender. Let's not worry about the 7-game suspension he had this year and the 20-game suspension he had 2 years ago. But he's not a repeat
I was
offender.
just about to mention the
also,
7-game suspension.
That's that's past the 18-month threshold where we can't like we're all supposed to have amnesia and not remember what he did before the last 18 months of his last.
Here's the thing.
Last
thing. This is why
done.
I don't get it. They say, it has to be past the 18-month threshold. Dude, it was like 2.5 months ago.
Did you guys read the story on The Athletic that came out that said that for the Brendan Carlo hit, the one that Wilson got suspended 7 games, Parros didn't want to suspend him at all, and Bettman had to step in and tell him, no, you have to suspend him? Why didn't he do it here? I don't understand.
Parros is worthless. He's a bum.
Because Bettman didn't tell him what to do. So, I mean.
Bettman
no one should do that.
Busy. He's too busy rigging the expansion draft and the draft lottery, so Seattle gets like all the super best stuff.
And
So
Vegas
Seattle's
doesn't
gonna
have
get
to
the
do
number
anything.
one.
Yeah, Vegas just gets the exempt for not having to lose any of their guys when they're already made the playoffs back to back years.
It's a joke, dude.
The only team that had not missed the playoffs since they first started as a team, and the fact they made it to the Stanley Cup final year 1, you're like, all right, just keep handing Vegas more stuff because why not, right?
It's ridiculous. And they're playing games with 10 forwards and 5 defensemen. They could probably use a player to be yanked.
Yeah, I can't stand that team in Nevada. I'm not allowed to say their name.
Mm-hmm.
But
you're gonna slip. You're gonna do it. You're gonna go on a rant. You're gonna slip.
Nope.
And it's just gonna be glorious.
All right, let's get to the previews, guys. I do not want to spend another moment of mental energy on Tom Wilson or the NHL player safety.
We'll get back to Tom Wilson here in a minute. All right. So we're going to go ahead and start with the 1-4 seed in the East. So we got the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Islanders.
Pittsburgh. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. But first game in that series is Sunday, May 16th at noon. And then they play Tuesday the 18th, Thursday the 20th, Saturday the 22nd, and then TBD if they need it. Zach, who do you think is going to come out on top in that series?
I'm going Islanders in 6 because, I mean, you get this team going at the right moment and getting hot at the right time with the fact that, they still have Matt Barzal and their goaltending is still pretty solid. And we're still talking about a team that is coached by Barry Trotz. I think they can do something to where they could stifle the Penguins. And I think the Islanders can do it. I think they're going to do it in 6. And, sorry, Pittsburgh, but no cup for you this year. What about you, Alex? What do you think?
It pains me. It absolutely pains me, but I honestly think the Penguins are going to take that series.
How many games, though, is the question?
5. Penguins in 5.
Oof.
The Islanders are good. I'm not negating that. But for some reason, this line in Pittsburgh with Sidney Crosby, I think it's Jake Gensel and Brian Rust, have been insane. Very, very, very good. One of the top lines for the season.
Yeah, and let's also not forget, too, they just got Jeff Carter, who did puck 4 goals in 1 game. And
look,
he's got 8 goals since he's been there. Like, he has scored more goals.
I will not.
In like 15 games than he did for 40 games with LA this year. We got 4 total. So
I absolutely refuse to talk about that traitorous person. Okay?
Who, Rick Nash?
No. You know exactly who I'm talking about.
That was the most perfect, like,
if you ever want to be at an entertaining game. Now you need to come to Columbus when the Penguins show up. If you think other people get booed, Jeff Carter is booed immensely every single time he steps foot inside of Nationwide Arena in Columbus. Every time. Because he essentially threw Columbus under the bus in an interview many times, like many years ago. I don't remember. I think it was, 2013, 14, something like, I don't know. It's been a long time. And ever since then, he gets booed every single time he's in Columbus. It was once a year. Now, great. It's going to be, twice a year? Well, if we get back to a regular schedule. I'm not.
Supposedly next year we are. So,
yeah.
Speaking of Columbus, are you guys going to rebrand too and become like?
Dude, don't even get me started on that crap. Don't even get me started on that crap. Okay. Side note, 30-second rant. If you guys are soccer fans, the Columbus Crew have rebranded.
It's Columbus SC.
Shut up. It's the Columbus Crew have rebranded, and they went to Columbus SC with the dumbest logo in the world, and I hate it. Everybody hates it. The fans hate it. It's ridiculous.
As a Crew fan myself, yes, it is an absolute abomination of a logo. And that's saying something because Chicago Fire's is worst. Actually, well, it was the worst, but I don't know anymore.
All right. Now, back to hockey. So, Andrew, who do you think is going to come out on top in this series?
I think it's going to be Pittsburgh. Zach, you brought up a really good point about the Islanders having Barry Trotz. Alex, you brought up a really good point about the Penguins being the Penguins. I think that the Islanders have been punching above their weight class for about 2 years, and the loss of Anders Lee absolutely derailed that team.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt.
If you think about if Anders Lee is still with this Islanders team, you're talking about them being as a second seed, maybe winning this division.
Absolutely believe it, because
sucks.
Earlier in the season, they back-to-back games against the Bruins.
Oof.
Absolutely whitewashed us, 6-2 and then 7-2.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that 2 games. Yeah, Bruins Twitter was, let's say, little heated, and I'm putting it nicely because I remember what Bruins Twitter was like during that period. Oof.
There was a lot of blow the team up after those games, but for a while, it looked like the Islanders were going to run away with the East. But when Anders Lee got hurt and Lou Lamoriello, you got to credit him for big game hunting a little bit. But
for sure.
But Travis Zajac and Kyle Palmieri are fitting about as well as a fart inside of a church. They have not acclimated themselves very well at all in New York, and I think that really hurt them because they were trying to replace leadership, net front presence, who also happens to be a 40-goal scorer, and you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that no matter how many big fish you catch.
Yeah, I would say with Zajac and Palmieri, like when you look at it on paper, you're like, oh, okay, that's not bad. Devils regulars, they've been around for a bit. Okay,
Palmieri looks cooked out there.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
Yeah, but then you look at the games the Islanders have played, you're like, man, this isn't it. Like you would think, like maybe if they went and got someone else more of, I wouldn't say like a Taylor Hall, but like someone
can't do that.
Just anyone like that was more capable of like go get that one guy who can get you 30 like in a shortened season. Let's say we're prorating this type of season. You're talking 23 goals, maybe 24, maybe you're pushing about 30.
Palmieri
I would say you can do that, but yeah, Palmieri and Zajac aren't those guys that are going to drop 30 goals in a shortened season.
Palmieri is a fine second line center for a second line right winger for a bad team.
Yeah. Not for a team that's going for a playoff.
Not for a team that's going for a playoff spot. And I know that the big fish were at a premium this trade deadline. They weren't many. There were a lot of teams that were holding on to their guys.
Well, especially with the even still, like the guys from Canada, instead of flying, they drove for a couple days just to get down to up to the Northeast where you guys are at, up to New England. They had guys driving there because Jared
Tenorti drove 16 hours from Nashville to here.
Yeah, there you
Like,
go. Because they didn't want to do the 7-day quarantine.
Yeah.
So it kind of made sense. So yeah, that's just the crazy thing. If you're talking about a normal season, we would have had an insane type of trade deadline, but it's just kind of like you had a couple moves that were like, okay, it kind of popped off, but it wasn't like one of the ones we've had before where you get like, massive, like holy crap type deals that we've usually seen. But
I think if it was a regular season, it would have been a little crazier too, because I think the salary cap would have been bumped up this year. $1.5 million or $2 million, and that would have been more trades, more big signings, more of the stuff like Mark Stone. When he got traded, dude was traded 10 minutes later in the airport. He signed an 8-year deal with Vegas. Ryan
O'Reilly from Buffalo to St. Louis, that was a huge one because no one saw that coming.
Well, no one saw that coming, and to be fair, Ryan O'Reilly was like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah.
But we're talking about the Sabres right now. I mean, shoot, Sam Reinhart and Jack Eichel just basically said that they want out of Buffalo too. And
no, they said it.
Oh well, they said it, but they said it without really saying it. But
Jack Eichel said, "I'm looking forward to next season, wherever that may be."
Yeah, and the fact he still has 5 years. He still has like 5 years left on his contract.
Yeah, Sam
Eichel's
Reinhart
got like 5 years left.
Sam Reinhart did the same thing, and Rasmus Ristolainen actually had the best quote. Somebody asked him, "Would you be okay if Kevin Adams moved you in the offseason?" He was like, "Yeah." Straight up.
Could you imagine if you're like guys like Yuka Haru and all their young and like Linus Allmark and all those young guys, and they're like, you see all the quote unquote veterans who are like not even 25 or 26, Jack's 24, they're all like, yeah, I'm out of here, peace out, and you're just like,
yeah,
now what?
Like,
you're gonna have like a bunch of like 22-year-olds as your main guys. You're like, we are so screwed.
Well,
I was on Slapshot Sweethearts earlier this week, and we actually did talk about the Sabres plight, and I likened it to a building on fire, but management locked all the doors.
That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's about right. And then they're trying to extinguish the fire with the paper cup. So I mean,
yeah, right.
Well, their culture's messed up, and that's why I will die on the hill that I honestly think that's where Torts is going to go as a coach.
Oh, could you imagine?
Well, the thing is,
fiasco.
That wouldn't be a fiasco. Torts is fantastic at changing the culture around in an organization. He did it in Columbus. The problem
we're talking about Buffalo. We're talking about Buffalo here.
No,
yeah,
his point stands. He's done it everywhere he's been except Vancouver.
That's so. I mean, that is okay. I'll give you that. That is true. Just all I'm saying is grab the popcorn because this is going to be if this does happen, this will be something worth watching.
Dude, like, did you see Columbus at all ever in your life between 2000 and 2013 and 14?
I was more worried about watching my team win Stanley Cups than worried about what you guys were doing. So
congratulations. So that's why Torts would be a fantastic fit there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now I would see like 2 or 3 years.
The question is Terry Bagula going to cede that kind of power that Torts is going to want?
I don't know.
Not going to happen.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It depends. Like the other place I've seen Torts for is Detroit. And I don't know how I feel about that, but it is.
I'll tell you. Yzerman looks hell bent on keeping Blashill for now.
Cool.
Yeah, I know. For you guys, that's great news.
Well, we can't beat the Red Wings, so that's not great for Columbus.
Well, you're very special because everyone else can.
Yes, we are very special. We have one of the league's historically worst power plays. And what do we do with the guy that's in charge of the power play? Hey, congratulations, sir. We're going to interview you for the head coaching position. Excuse me, sir. Hey, Yarmo in the Blue Jackets organization. What crack are you smoking? I would love to have some.
Let's not forget.
Is Finnish crack any more potent than regular crack?
Dude, honestly, at this point, I don't care. Dude, they could be smoking freaking Pop-Tarts for all it matters. If it's doing the job, I'll happily join in.
No. So back to the original point.
Yeah. So how many games do you think Pittsburgh is going to? How many games is it going to take, Andrew?
I'll say 6.
Okay.
But I will fully acknowledge that Barry Trotz is a coach and God.
Yeah.
I
So
will not disagree with that.
Barry
Yeah.
Trotz is a coaching god, and
He
Pittsburgh's
will
goaltending is, for my money, the worst among the 16 teams in
like
in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the fact that everyone's hyping up, like I think Casey Smith is okay, but he's not a goalie who's going to like just take you to the promised land.
No.
So I mean,
Tristan Jarry is a National Hockey League goaltender, and that's all I can really say about him.
yeah. So honestly, that's why I'm kind of leaning towards if the Islanders get hot and if Trotz does what he usually does and just stifles the crap out of any other team's offense, and if they can go and win 3-1, 3-2 games, and the fact that they can just absolutely just just defend you to death and hit you on odd man rushes.
They have the
here's
best
Matt
defense
Barzal.
pair.
Let's go for it.
They have Matt Barzal,
think
and they have the best defense pair in the NHL in Pelican Pollock.
Yeah, and
So
let's not forget that their goaltending is pretty solid too. They still have I'm saying
Sorokin are good too.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying like the I would say, you know what, I'll change my Islanders in 6 to Islanders in 7.
Okay.
Because that's I'll do Islanders in 7 because I think that the Islanders could do it. Give them 7 games, give them a full 7. There you go. Let's go because I think they have the defense to do it, and they have they have a better goaltending matchup against Pittsburgh's of the world. If they, like I said, Islanders catch them at the right time and get enough pucks in the net, they could take this series.
I just think
I don't think it's a slam dunk. It's not a slam dunk as people think it is.
Ultimately, I think the loss of Anders Lee is too much. But I think
I can agree. No, I can agree with that.
Come out of that unscathed.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think Pittsburgh coming out of this series, whoever they face between Washington and Boston, they're not going to be ready for it. They're going to be so tired by the end of this first series with the Islanders. Second round matchup, whoever that Penguins face, it's not going to matter because they're going to get absolutely just slapped around, in my opinion. Pittsburgh is not making the Final Four. They're just not. I'm
inclined to agree with that.
Maybe. We'll see.
Oh gosh.
At this point, I honestly see them. I see them in Boston in the second round. But spoiler for my other series winner.
All right. So moving on to the other series, Alex. Let's start with you then. Washington and Boston. Who you got?
Boston in 7.
Okay. Care to expand?
No.
There's not a lot to expand on. I mean, honestly, Pasternak, Marchand's been really good this year. You got Tuukka Rask starting to get back into his groove a little bit, and you still have Halak, and you still have Swayman, so you don't have to worry about goalies at all.
Yaroslav Halak is our third string goaltender heading into this series,
which is wild to think because you're like, this guy's, I don't want to say he's like elite or he's really good, but he's above
the best
average.
1B in the league.
Yeah,
I could easily see him
like one of the best 1B. He could be starter on really bad teams.
I could easily see him being the goalie, one of the goalies taken from Seattle in the expansion draft.
Oh, for sure. I could see that happening. I mean, the dude is good. I mean, like I said, he's interesting. He's a 1B. He's not going to be like a Varlamov. He's not. I'm sorry, Vasilevsky. He's not going to be Fleury. He's not going to be a prime Jonathan Quick, but he can still hold his own. I think he can do something. So you're going Boston 7, Alex?
Yeah, I got Boston 7. It's one of those things like Washington has been wishy-washy. I mean, no pun intended. Granted, I know they're in second place. Fine, but it's one of those things. It's Boston. I hate Boston, but it's one of those it's the Bruins. You can't.
I think given a normal season, Washington. I'm telling you right now, if it was a normal A2 game, it was a normal season. Washington's not second. I think it's just Boston had a small stretch where they kind of peered off a bit, kind of stalled out.
If it were a normal 82 game season, they wouldn't have been playing Boston 8 times.
Well, I agree with that.
It would have been a lot different. I think the Blue Jackets would have been in the playoffs if we would have played a regular full-length season, because then in that case we would have started earlier and the trade deadline would have been handled differently. So
my point is, I think it's going to be Boston in 5. Boston's going to give it to them because, like you said,
Zach, I'm close.
I'm just saying, it's like the fact that you talk about goaltending. You have Halak, you got Rask, you have Look at the defense. Yeah, it's not the best Boston Bruins defense that I've had for the last few years, but it's still Boston. Oh, and let's not talk about their scoring where you have Bergeron, Marchand, Pasta. Oh, that's right. They also got Taylor Hall, who just resurrected his career, who's been on an absolute tear since the trade deadline.
I get that.
They're putting pucks in the net more. This seed doesn't equate to how good this Boston team is because the fact of how, just like I said, they didn't have that one stretch where they kind of stalled out for a while. I think they would, like I said with the Islanders, it could be a number 1 seed team in this division. And I think Boston's going to do it in 5 because I think their firepower on their offense and the fact of how good their goaltending has been recently with all 3 goalies, I think Boston can just give it to Washington, in my opinion.
I agree with you, but my point is with the Capitals are one of the teams that they crank it up in the playoffs literally every year, and they're that much harder than they are to beat than in the regular season. Every season they'll do that. Now, again, we're both on the same page that think Boston's going to win. I mean, I think Andrew thinks the Capitals are going to win, but it's like Washington will crank it up in the playoffs. They do every season. That's why I think if it were a regular season series, 5. I 100% agree with you. But playoffs, I'm saying in 7.
Fair enough.
So, Andrew, how many games do you think it's going to take for the Capitals to beat the Bruins?
3. We had the Caps Chart podcast on our podcast, which just dropped today, and they are normally very confident and cocky. They're not feeling it. They're not feeling it because
I think this is the last team they really wanted to face right now in the first round.
It is, and it was the first team that we wanted to face because of the bad blood that's been percolating all season long with that rat fuck Tim Walson, I guess we'll call him.
Yeah, Tim Walson.
And just the fact that they're a circus right now. OV is hurt. Yevgeny Kuznetsov is a fucking idiot.
Shocker.
Fair enough. I mean,
breaking news.
He was internally suspended by Peter Laviolette, and then he had like a 1-game suspension. He was healthy scratched, and then the game afterwards, he was put on COVID-19 protocol for the 2nd time. Do you know how much you have to fuck up to be on that protocol list more than once?
Be Kuznetsov?
Yes. And then Sam, and then this joke is gonna go right into the wheelhouse. But Samsonov hasn't been able to keep his nose clean all year. He's also on the COVID protocol list. Like there is something's not getting through to some of the core of that team, and
I just don't. Yeah, like I don't think they're. You're gonna hope that Backstrom and
who is hurt.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, you're gonna rely on. I mean, Oshie's good, but let's be honest. There you go. Who do you rely on then for Washington to be like, hey, we're gonna just go and beat Boston with a bunch of hurt guys and a defense that's kind of wish-washy and the goaltending that you're just kind of like, okay, let's see how this works with this guy out here.
You know who the backup is to Vitek Vanacek for the Caps right now with Samsonov out? Craig Anderson.
Yeet.
Craig Anderson is now the backup for the Caps.
I would have been more believable if he said the Hamburglar. I would have believed that more than that.
Oh my god! But we're hoping Jeremy.
Shout to Andrew Hammond, the Hamburglar.
We're hoping Jeremy Swayman isn't that. But
yeah,
no, like I think it's gonna be. I do think it's gonna be a close series because they played us close all year.
Yeah.
Their top 6 is hurt, but 65% of Alexander Ovechkin is better than 90% of the goal scorers in this league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
they do have a cup pedigree. Peter Laviolette, as much as I want to throw him in a hole, is one of the better coaches in the league, but so is Bruce Cassidy. So maybe that's a wash. I'm feeling confident about the Bruins' chances here because I saw a stat today, and it's to your point, Zach. On the trade deadline, the Boston Bruins were 30th in 5-on-5 scoring. Ever since the trade deadline, they are first. They found a problem, and they fixed it.
Andrew, right here.
I got you, boy. I got you.
Yeah.
So The realistic fan in me wants to say it's going to be a 7-game series because of how close they've played, because everybody who's hurt is going to be so doped up on fucking xylocaine and novocaine and whatever painkiller you care to mention.
The Russian gas.
The Russian gas.
Mm-hmm. Come on, let's be honest. It's the Russian gas.
Yes. The one that makes you immune to COVID, according to Alexander Ovechkin's wife. But I want to say 7 because I want to keep my expectations in check, but 5 or 6, and we solidified our bottom 6 with that Taylor Hall trade. Curtis Lazar's come in and really stopped the carousel.
Can you say fleeced? You guys literally fleeced Buffalo for. They're like
Kevin Adams is still looking for his suit.
I feel so bad for Kevin Adams too. The fact that he's like a rookie GM, never really done anything like this before, with an ownership that's just so bad, and the fact I feel even
you do
more.
It yourself, right? No assistants.
Yeah. Oh no, and no scouting team either. They have no scouts either, and now he has to probably deal with maybe trading the face of your franchise in Eichel. Oh, and also trading Sam Reinhart, who's had his best career year ever. So basically you give up Hall and then you throw in Lazar for extra scraps, and it's like, thank you.
And Lazar's under contract for next year too. So let's fucking go with that.
And think about this too. I can tell you right now, with the new TV deals that are kicking in for the NHL, I'm telling you, I'm calling it right now on this podcast episode. Taylor Hall is going to be a Bruin after this year. Boston's keeping him.
We have a lot of decisions to make in the offseason. But let's not get there yet. We're not there yet.
We'll definitely bring you on for the offseason stuff for sure. But I'm telling you right now, I have a good feeling that I'm going to go on. I'm going to put a hot take and just putting it out there. And I'm trying to speak into existence for you guys because my father-in-law is a Bruins fan.
I see you.
Taylor Hall is going to be with the Bruins because the fact of how good he's been with them, he's like, I can stay in Boston because everyone takes a good deal there because you have all these guys on good contracts.
Also, Don Sweeney is a ruthless negotiator too. He's proven that time and again.
That's what I'm saying. So you get Taylor Hall. If you get Taylor Hall on board, it's like, hey Taylor, you had a really good back half of your season with us. We have all these guys around you who are taking these type of contracts to keep building this team. We're always consistently good. Why not stay in Boston? So I can tell us why I can see Taylor Hall going.
And he wants to stay here too.
I would love to stop moving around and having 1-year contracts. Sign me for a 3-year deal and let's keep going.
Yep, and he wants to be here too. So
there you go. Yeah. I'm speaking for you, Andrew. I'm speaking into existence.
You're my boy, Zach. Thank you.
I won't say that just yet. I can see it happening, but they got to worry about David Krejci and figure out what they're doing with him first.
Krejci and Hall are probably going to come as a package deal. At this point, I was on board with letting Krejci walk, but after seeing how he meshes with Taylor Hall, you keep that man.
But you better take a hit.
Could you imagine that as your second line after the perfection line? You have Krejci and Hall in the second after that first line.
Yep, and Craig Smith has finally found his footing in there too. So
and you guys still have Jake DeBrusk too. Like, hello,
he's on our fourth line.
Still though,
yeah.
Jake DeBrusk he's no slouch.
The depth of this team. It speaks to the depth of this team.
That's why it's like that's scary. And my father-in-law, who's going to listen to this episode, he's going to be like, "Thank you so much for talking about the Bruins." And it's just like, But I gotta give credit where credit's due, man. Boston knows how to build a team, and it's just insane. It's wild.
So I put it out on the podcast that I said Bruins in 7. After doing some rumination and talking to you two, I'm going to change that to Bruins in 6, I think. And it's exactly what my co-host Thomas said. He said Bruins in 6, but I think I was trying to keep a little realistic, but just laying all the bullshit that's going on with the Caps right now and how solidified that the Bruins defense and offense seems to be, and the goaltending. I see it. I see 6.
Screw it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they lost game 1, though.
Boston in 2, baby.
Boston in 2. Just forfeit.
Yep.
So basically, recapping the first round, Alex, you're going Pittsburgh, Boston. Andrew, you're going
Pittsburgh, Boston.
I'm going Islanders, Boston.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
So, Andrew, you have Pittsburgh, Boston. Who do you see advancing from the second round, going to the quarterfinals or the semifinals?
Boston.
Zach.
I think that if first of all, if Pittsburgh moves on from the Islanders, they will not be unscathed. I believe that Pittsburgh's goaltending is going to be their downfall. We've slapped them around a few times this year. And
I remember that 7-4 game. Was it 7-4 or 7-5?
It was 7-5, and then earlier in the year it was 6-1.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, and then there was another one that was 3-0. It was 2-1, but it wasn't that close. But Daniel Vladar, our fourth string goaltender, stood on his head.
All right, so Boston and how many against Pittsburgh?
I'll say 6. I'll say Boston comes out of the East.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I picked the Islanders to be my East team, but that's because I have that original 6 kind of like I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, Boston Islanders going for one of the 4 spots.
I will say that if we end up playing if the Islanders find it and we end up playing them, we're going to be in trouble.
I'm still going to say, though, if it's Boston Islanders, Boston in 7.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As much as I would love to see Islanders, I still think we're still talking about Boston.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Man, you're a lot more bullish on Boston than Alex is.
Yeah, and like I said, I did pick the Islanders to be my East team, but in terms of like taking away my bias and actually, looking at the teams, looking at what's going on for the season, I cannot make myself say Islanders are going to get out of the East because I would like to say that, but I think Boston has that depth. Goaltending's getting hot. Defense is picking it up. Your guys are scoring, like you said, first and 5-on-5s.
That's correct.
Taylor Hall's been on an absolute just tear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you cannot say Boston going to the Final Four to face whoever, because into the Final Four is reseeded based on season points. So however Boston falls, they'll fall.
God,
in the
I
Final
want
Four.
Toronto.
However they fall, it'll be interesting for sure. But I think Boston gets out of the East.
I want Toronto so bad.
We do have a special guest for the North Division episode, so you're gonna have to listen to that to see who we think Boston's going to be facing, in my opinion. But all right, Alex, who you got?
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. On the Final Four.
Show your work.
Again.
Show your work.
I would love to figure. Yes, please.
If so, it's 100% going to be in 7. I think if Pittsburgh, Boston make it there, it's going to be 7 regardless. But it's like 51-49. It could really sway one way or the other. You could have one guy from Pittsburgh get hurt right now, and I will immediately switch over to Boston.
Okay, so
it's very tough for me to make that decision, but ultimately,
so it's like 50.1 to like 49.9.
Yeah,
we'll go with. You want to go with that then? Make it a little bit easier for you.
Yeah,
50.1.
It's I think Pittsburgh will squeak it out. I don't see any blowouts at all. I could see like a
overtime, like
5-2,
5 overtime winners,
7, maybe a couple overtime games, but
no. I watch like every game go to overtime just because.
But I mean, it all depends. Boston could go and win in 4. Pittsburgh could beat the Islanders in 7. Well, okay, in that case, I'm going to say Boston because Boston has more rest.
Mm-hmm.
And Boston is not a
premium this year.
Yeah, Boston's not a team that does bad when they're resting. Like, for example, in the 2019 series, the Blue Jackets swept Tampa, and they had an extended rest because it was in 4, and then Boston played in 7. Okay, well, we meet Boston in round 2. They're still warmed up, ready to go. And the Blue Jackets kind of have to knock the rust off, and that's why we ended up losing that series.
Plus, it's Boston. I mean,
you got owned by David Backes in Game 3. I will never forget that.
Yeah, and you got owned by Jordan Bennington. Shut your mouth.
You misspelled Jordan Penisington.
I was so mad about that. I was so mad about that because we have hockey page that's nothing but memes and stuff, and I
Let's
kept
go Blues.
I kept trashing the Blues so much. I'm like, please, Boston win this because I do not want to eat my words all play out of the whole offseason, and you guys let me down.
Well,
it's okay though. It's okay.
Well, we'll break your heart, kid. That's Bruins fandom for you.
Hey, pre-2010 Blackhawks, we're talking. Like, ask me about the Blackhawks before 2010. I can give you some heartbreaks. So
the halcyon days of Alexei Zhamnov and
trying to find a way to watch a game. Let's talk about that.
Oh yeah,
first.
dollar bill. Oh, that's right.
Let's talk about trying to find a game first. But all right, so basically Boston, and Alex with Pittsburgh for whatever reason. Like, you must feel dirty. You might have to wash yourself after giving that pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go drink some acid or something.
Gargle some bleach, maybe, like what Homer does.
Alex,
in that one
there's still time to join us, my man.
Nope. What's that? What's that one gif of like Dave?
I'll
Chappelle,
be honest.
Like,
I'll tell you right now.
Come to me.
Brad Marchand never cheap shot at Scott Harrington in the back of the head 2 years ago, I would be rooting for Boston. That would have given me that extra 0.5%.
But think about the karma. But think of the karma though of Brad Marchand absolutely whiffing on that shootout. He just misses the puck completely. Think about that.
I mean,
sorry, Andrew. I know.
Brad Marchand. Hey, you know what? I'm going to use the Tom Wilson school of defending and
you want him on your team.
You want him on your team, and you know what? Unlike Tom Wilson, that's actually true.
I can confirm. If we had Brad Marchand right now, I'd be getting a Brad Marchand jersey, but only if it was in the Blackhawks. So.
I'm going to stop right there because if I say what I was about to say, Bruins fans would probably snipe me from a rooftop.
Well, to have you back on later on and still be able to talk to you on Twitter, yeah, we don't want that to happen. So
yeah, exactly.
We like to preserve you for future talks,
scientific reasons.
Appreciate it, boys.
Yeah.
Woof, I don't want to go that far, but all right.
Have to study the brain of a Bruins fan.
Yeah, well.
Oh, I can talk to my father.
Well, good luck finding anything.
Wait, I was just trying to find something in there. I mean, you said it. I was trying to be polite, but
you don't have to.
This is Andrew we're talking about here. I mean,
you don't have to. Part of a prerequisite of being a Bruins fan is that you can't string more than two words together without sounding like an idiot like that.
Self-deprecation it's just embedded.
Exactly. Don't you can't hurt us more than we've hurt us.
Oh, I can say the same thing for me too. Browns, Blackhawks.
Hey, you guys are good now. So, Browns speaking.
Hey, the Blackhawks did good this year. Despite expectations of us being bad. So, not upset about it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah, and on the note of just blatant lies, I think it's going to go ahead and wrap that up for today.
6th place, aim high, Zach.
I predicted them to finish 6th. I just didn't think it was going to be 2nd and 4th place for most of the season. So
aim for the stars, Zachary.
You guys almost finished last into the division, Alex.
Congrats.
Alex, you almost finished behind the Red Wings.
You say that thinking it's going to hurt my feelings. Knowing.
What did I just say?
Knowing I've been a Blue Jackets fan since 2000.
Very true. Very true. We are talking about a fan who's never seen glory. It's okay.
That's
one day, Alex.
Congratulations.
One day, Alex.
The sweep was your cup. So
yeah.
All right.
Can't confirm.
Anyway.
Yep. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, no problem, boys. It's always a pleasure and it's always a lot of fun.
Oh, yes. It's always a good time. Definitely needed you on for a longer, 2-hour episode just talking about Bruins offseason stuff. That's going to be a fun time.
Oh man, I would love that. You kidding? Hopefully it's much later after we've won the cup.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Don't think so.
I can't confirm. I can't confirm that for you.
That's why I said hopefully. God, let me dream.
Okay, we'll let you dream.
You can dream while my boy Caps Lock over in Minnesota is going to win the cup. So deal with it.
You have to get past Vegas first.
Robert
cake.
Leonard.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, that team over there has had an issue with Minnesota this year. So
Oh yeah. They've what are they,
that's what it
like
is.
five, they're like 1-5-2 or something like that.
correct.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun
Correct.
one.
So
All right.
well,
I'll clear
Andrew.
out so you guys can talk to your wild guest. Remember Short Shift Pod and whenever you listen to your podcasts.
Andrew, appreciate it, man. Appreciate the time as always. Thanks for coming out. We're gonna have you on again soon. Zach, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, me, and our glorious podcast on Twitter?
CLE Zach for me. Alex is _CBJ. Cannon Hawks Pod on Twitter. Click the link tree. You can find us on all other social medias and find our podcast on all podcast platforms, plus our magnificent sponsors, Spy Optic, Pure Hockey, and Romeo's Pizza of Columbus, the sauciest pizza on the planet. Alex, what are we all about here at Cannons and Tomahawks Podcast?
Beer, food, and hockey.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Cannons and Tomahawks podcast, presented by Belly Up Sports. Beer, food, and hockey.